WWF podcast. Today we're going to go through our top 5 Money in the Bank. I've got my brother from Wrestling Buddy with me, Matty. How you doing, Matt?
How you doing, everybody? It's Matty Laws here. You guys can find me over at WrestleBuddy.com. Read our articles, and I'm so happy to have Andy on with us at WrestleBuddy.
Yeah, I'm made up to be on with you, mate, as well. So today we're going to go through the Money in the Bank top 5 worst cash-ins. You know, I don't really like doing negative stuff, but obviously it's there for a reason, so we're going to have to go through it, aren't we?
Where there's good, there's bad.
Yeah, so as we discussed, Matty, you know, first of all, first one we'll go through, Braun Strowman.
You ended a Hell in a Cell match in a no contest. Braun Strowman announced his cash-in ahead of time. And then we had Brock Lesnar ruin it, end it in a no contest. Made no damn sense.
Yeah. And the thing is, I thought that they got it really well at the start as well. So, you know, the fact that they didn't do kind of a sneaky run-in or one of, like, you know, like they've done with Edge and so many times.
Damn near everybody else.
Yeah. And I thought that, you know, it kind of, it sat well with the fact that with his character, and he was a monster, he didn't need to sneak up on somebody. He could come up to you face to face and cash in his money in the bank for a match, and, you know,
let you know what match it is too.
Yeah. And he even cashed it in before he even knew who the champion was going to be.
I'm cashing this in at Hell in a Cell, whether you're champion or not. See you there.
Yeah. And that was the thing. I thought, you know, that based on that was a really, really good arc on the story. I thought that they'd done it really well based on his character. It fitted in so well for him. And then they just messed it all up.
I mean, yeah. Why did Brock have to go? In that match in particular? You could have had him show up the Monday after and attack Roman or Braun and immediately insert himself in there. He did not need to. And I think that is what killed the Hell in a Cell gimmick.
That's the thing.
Because that was the first no contest in the Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, which is, as you've seen, you know, I think it does disjustice to the likes of Mick Foley, who kind of went through that cage every which way and was still managed to carry on, you know. But I just look at it and think to myself, like, you know, Braun Strowman, why put all that hard work into setting it all up so nicely for him and then doing something like that? And I know they'll turn around and, you know, the justification you would have got off the writers at the time would have been, we're protecting him, you know, by doing the no contest. But I don't think he ever recovered from that.
I mean, look where he is now.
That's it, isn't it? And, you know, I know he won the championship after that, but you can say realistically he was never meant to win that championship, and everybody knew he was never meant to win it. It was just get it off Goldberg, and yeah, and, you know, don't get me wrong, this is no kind of slate on Braun Strowman. He done really, really well in terms of like how he holded the championship, how he conducted it with it, and, you know, I thought he done really well with it. But unfortunately, I just think, considering if you look at, you know, the 80s and the 90s, the WWE love big guys, or, you know, that's the kind of story out there that Vince McMahon's absolutely made up with big guys. I don't think they booked Strowman well.
They did not book him well at all. Like, well, when he first debuted, they booked him well. They didn't have him wrestle too much. And then whenever he started getting good, they started booking him better and better. We got the Roman and Braun feud in early 2016, I believe, or 2017. And that was phenomenal. And then it was slightly after the Roman feud that it did start falling off for him. But it was as soon as he got back up on the horse, got the Money in the Bank, cashed it in. You're right. I don't think he ever recovered. Properly recovered. Because he wasn't meant to be in that match with Goldberg.
No. And even when he won the you know, I don't really want to mention this because we're already quite negative already with the actual format of the podcast, but when he won the tag team championships with Nicholas, I think...
that too.
You know, Did you know he
Well, you
was
do
a
have the
referee's
purveyor
son?
of good, bad, and ugly over here, so.
That's it, mate. Did you know that he was a referee's son?
Yeah, I found that out shortly afterwards, and
Mm,
I sat there and I was like, "That's a cool way to promote yourself."
yeah. I mean, the thing is, I still don't get with that one. It's, yeah, I get the whole reason why they done it, and again, it was to make Brock look like Braun look like he was, invincible and this big strong monster. But just again, I feel like with Braun Strowman, and to be fair, this is WWE in general nowadays. It's across the board with them. They contradict themselves. So they'll build Brock to be, Braun. I keep calling him Brock. They build Braun to be this really like big, strong character, and then he'll get beat by somebody clean.
Yeah,
And
as a
then,
whistle.
yeah. Someone's finisher, bang, done. And it's like, well, why are you building him up to be such a monster? And then it's kind of down he goes. Do you know what I mean?
Something I do want to point out from what we were just talking about with Nicholas. They ended the Bar's tag title reign.
Yeah. Two of the probably mainstays in WWE, and two of the, especially on Cesaro's side, and Sheamus, to be fair, very good technical wrestlers, and
both of them are phenomenal.
I think something like that might have been better with John Morrison and The Miz. I know Morrison wasn't in the company at the time, but they seem to be the whipping boys at the moment. Yeah.
At the time, B team.
Exactly.
And give them a WrestleMania match.
Because did they have the titles after that or before it? I can't remember. It was around that era, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was around that era. Mania 34. I want to say it was about 2 years or a year after Mania 34 that they won the titles.
Yeah.
Because I don't even think Miz was that prominent then either.
No. I mean, I think the thing is, as well, is it just shows you, like, I know I've just done my articles on WrestlingBuddies.com for, my top 10 cash-ins, most shocking cash-ins. And on that one, I said in my foreword at the beginning, I did say, the money in the bank can be used to accelerate someone's career, to launch them, as it were. CM Punk had done it for, Edge was a big one. It can usher in new, and obviously now with the end of the Thunderdome, it's going to be the start of a new era, really, isn't it? I know there's a crowd at SmackDown, but realistically, that pay-per-view is going to be the one that sets the bar for the year going forward. And,
yeah, I don't think people are going to really care about the SmackDown this Friday. No. They're really worried about this Sunday, this coming Sunday.
Yeah, and then if you look at where Braun, I just feel like they just missed the boat so much. I think, okay, if you're not going to give him it at that specific time, then why take it off him? Why not, keep hold of it for another day?
Or for a bigger pay-per-view than Hell in a Cell.
Move him a brand. Move him over to the other show.
It's been done before and been explained perfectly.
Because it's like the Royal Rumble, isn't it? I always assume, the Money in the Bank is the same as the Royal Rumble in the fact of it's not kind of, you don't have to be on one brand to do it. It's not like you're Mr. Money in the Bank for Raw or SmackDown. You kind of Mr. Money in the Bank, aren't you? So, I'd love it one day maybe to see somebody go into NXT.
I would love that. Oh, that would be great.
Charlotte? Was that what Charlotte done, was it?
I don't think Charlotte won that Money in the Bank.
No, she just went over to SmackDown.
Yeah, no, she won the Women's Rumble.
Oh, sorry, yeah, so she done it with the Rumble, didn't she?
Yeah, she won the Women's Rumble. And technically, I think Rhea challenged her.
You never know. She's another story. They've absolutely
that'll be another video.
Oh, the way they've booked her is just unbelievable since she's come onto the main roster.
It's been nuts. It's been.
I actually feel sorry for her, to be honest with you.
And she was so good in NXT.
So good. And, she had the look, she had the music. But anyway, let's get back to Braun because... but yeah, I felt so sorry for him with that. I really did. I felt like it was just so well, it started so well, and it's, as I say, typical WWE. It started so well, but ended so bad. And
I feel bad for all three of them at the end of that match.
Yeah.
Even Brock just standing out there and going, "Cool, I wrestled in one of these matches and got a really good match out of it, and now I've killed the stipulation."
Yeah, and nobody, nobody come out looking good from it, did it? So what's the point? Okay, so I think we'll leave Braun there because I don't think there's much else to say about that one. It's a pretty clear-cut one, isn't it? And unfortunately, he's now left. We went from the Monster Moment till the was it the Monster Express? Was it, if I remember correctly?
The Strowman Express.
Oh, the Strowman
even
Express.
Added
That was it.
Train whistle.
Even on the screen, I don't know when he used to on his on the Titantron when it had the train coming out with his face on the front of it. It looked like a weird Thomas the Tank Engine. I don't know whether you're aware of that over there.
I was going to say WrestleMania was amazing to see that entrance. Wasn't there a giant augmented reality train going through the arena or something? I wouldn't doubt it.
Funny you should mention the augmented animation. Did you see Stephanie McMahon done an interview the other day saying that they're looking to incorporate more into it?
Oh no, they already do so much.
That's why I was thinking more. Is the giant sandals and the birds coming out somebody's feet not enough? Although, to be fair, I'm a fan of Riddle. It's not a slight against Riddle.
I love Riddle.
Yeah,
Riddle's my boy. Yeah. Waiting for him to direct message me back.
Cool, man.
I don't think I'm ever going to get that.
Hey, you never know. I've heard some good stories about Riddle when he wrestled over in the UK.
I was going to say, I heard Riddle was really over. I remember watching his Progress stuff. So
yeah. Well, I watched Riddle from the MMA days. Obviously, with myself doing a little bit back in the day. I used to watch him
during his old Ultimate Fighter days.
Yeah. There's a lot of people do. I think WWE should. I love the whole bro character, but maybe push a little bit more into it. He was a very, very good MMA fighter that just couldn't stop smoking cannabis.
There's nothing wrong with that. Why is there so much problem with that? We've literally gotten an American, I believe, track runner who got disqualified from the Olympics because she tested positive for marijuana.
I don't know. I don't have a
I
clue.
could go on a whole rant about that.
Yeah. I think we'll save that for another one, mate. But it's very interesting, It's I'm with you on that one. I don't see the whole issues with it, but who am I suppose. Right, so next on our list, we've got the second ever person to lose when they've cashed in. Mr. Baron King Corbin.
Not King anymore. He might be Happy Corbin soon.
I've seen it. Yep, seen it coming through.
This one really confuses me because I remember he got in trouble for saying something in an interview or something on Twitter.
Yeah.
But that's no reason for them to do this to Corbin.
No.
He was going to have a match with Jinder Mahal. He was getting ready to cash in. John Cena, for some reason, pops up onto the apron, says peekaboo, jumps down, and Jinder Mahal rolls up Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin was one of the best built heels at that time.
Definitely. He still is to this day, to be fair. I think he, I see how much hate he gets on Twitter, and, people really go angry at him, and some really nasty things I've seen him be put about him. But, to me, I think he's, he's a really good worker. I think he's comes across great. He's Mr. Reliable. He's never going to be a superstar, but he's a great mid-carder who will have a Hall of Fame career in my eyes.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen him have, other than the Elias match at WrestleMania 36, but that was kind of hindered by no fans.
Yeah.
Baron Corbin doesn't have really bad matches.
No.
Baron Corbin, I hear a lot of people give him crap about his moveset and how he doesn't have a lot of moves. They don't let him show what he can do. In NXT, he was amazing. His moveset was great down in NXT.
He was.
But And he's a great character worker too. Like you said, he
Mm.
gets a lot of heat on Twitter. He gets a lot of heat whenever he's on screen.
Yeah.
Definitely, he could have benefited from becoming WWE champion using the Money in the
Oh,
Bank
no, no.
briefcase.
And I think, for me personally, it's when you go back to the move set. John Cena is a prime example of that. Is John Cena will just move through the repertoire of moves that he uses, and that's it.
Yeah,
He
that's the
doesn't
end of the
really
match.
go outside. He doesn't really go outside his comfort zone. It's getting his moves in, and I'm not as much as I always like people to be able to do more with their own matches. WWE just don't let them, and that's the end of that. So,
Yeah,
you've got to look at somebody's style and how they work just based on what they do, not by the moves they do or anything like, but the way they execute things. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Um,
And Corbin is so clean with everything he does. One of my favorite things of him is getting Irish whipped into the corner, just seamlessly sliding under the bottom rope, wrapping around the ring post, and getting right back into the ring in like seconds.
yeah, yeah. And that's it. He's a big guy as well, isn't he?
I think he's, if I'm not mistaken, 6'8".
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he is
He's
about 6'8".
massive.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. And I going back to this Money in the Bank cash in. Not only did I think it was wrong, it's like again, it's one of them situations. As why involve John Cena is meant to be your ultimate babyface. So what does he gain by doing that to Corbin?
Well, what does he gain from bullying someone? It's
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
Shinsuke Nakamura and Eric Bugenhagen right now.
Mm.
How do you look at those guys as faces when they're bullying this guy?
I know.
They already took the guy's crown. What
Yeah.
more do they want from him?
That's it, isn't it? It's like, it seems to be this kind of storyline. I don't know, to be honest, I'm quite interested with it at the moment because I don't really see where it's going. I think it is going into a Corbin face turn somewhere along the lines. But
Do you think he'd be good as a face? We've never seen it.
Exactly.
Never seen it.
Exactly.
I don't know how we've seen Corbin smile, but it's like in a dickish way. I've never seen like a genuine Corbin.
No. But then again, when Randy Orton first came in, how long was it before we seen him as a babyface? And I know he's an awesome heel, but he comes across all right.
Damn good face.
Yeah.
He's a
I think
damn
the thing
good
is,
face.
anybody can be a good face, can't he? As long as the story's right. I mean, I always think back to Sergeant Slaughter.
Yes.
He was one of the best baby faces in the. He was a G.I. Joe figures. He had his own lines outside the WWE. He was loved everywhere, and then obviously for the WrestleMania 7 run, they turned him heel, and he was the most hated person.
Not only that, I don't. Have you ever had the chance and gone back and watched his match against Pat Patterson in Madison Square Garden, the Texas strap match or the Texas street fight?
I may have seen it.
It is one of the best showings of like heel wrestling I've seen because Pat Patterson is just such an underdog babyface.
Yeah.
Sergeant Slaughter is healing it up. It is amazing. I'll try and find it and send it to you, but it's definitely one of my must-watch matches.
I'll have a look at that, definitely. Yeah, well, as I say, it just shows you with that. I'm just trying to think of some others. Undertaker, he was a heel for how long when he first come in, and obviously, he had a bit more of a different mystique about his character and stuff. But it just shows you, that you can go from one to the other. Hogan with the NWO is a massive one, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone always said, it's probably the flip side. I mean, obviously, comparing Hogan to Corbin, but, obviously, if you were to turn around in the 90s and said, do you ever see Hogan being a...
be in the early 90s and being like, you ever see Hogan being heel?
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things that people talk about. It's one of those things that people, like, talk about as rumors, but you'll never, ever expect to see it. Yeah. Like, a Cena heel turn.
Yeah. It's like, what's called John Cena, isn't it? Nobody ever knows how he'd be as a heel because we've never seen it. No, so...
And those that have seen it, good job watching early 2000s wrestling.
Yeah, not the best. I think that's still the case today, isn't it? I think WWE just got so calm in their own kind of way, do you know what I mean? That they just stopped trying as much as back then.
Yeah.
You know, as I say, probably nowadays they don't take the risk, do they? Is probably the best way to put it.
And then you get Bailey hurting herself in training.
Honest to God,
That's
what a nightmare.
horrible.
I know. I really do feel for the girl. I feel like she was one of the mainstays during the Thunderdome era, as we call it now, pandemic era, whatever you want to call it. I think she was really, really good, you know, and she is a great character, Bailey. But here's a question for you. So, if she doesn't come back onto television, kind of like a Britt Baker style wheelchair or whatever they do with her, when she does come back, because of the respect the fans have for her, you know, would you bring her back as a heel, or would you bring her back as the Hugger Bailey?
I would. It wouldn't be Hugger. I don't think she'll ever go back to the Hugger gimmick. If she
No.
does, I don't know how it'll go over. But like you said, I can totally see her like milking it, being in a wheelchair for months. She's expected to be out for 9 months, so we could see her in a wheelchair for up to a year.
Yeah.
And just I want to say have it at like Rumble time next year or around then, and just have her like stand up out of the wheelchair. That crowd pop would be insane. Like,
yeah.
But like, I don't know. Maybe bring her back as like an anti-hero. Either that, or you could totally have her just be an annoying heel until she'll kill it no matter what.
No. Yeah, I think she will do. I was just thinking about that the other day. I was thinking, like, what would you do with it? Do you capitalise on that? Do you actually give her the exposure? Because, like, Daniel Bryan now, you know, it did get to the point where I thought to myself, I wasn't like desperate to see him. I'd seen everything he had to offer, and you know, don't get me wrong, he's a great in-win worker, but I think we'd had him for so long back from his break that he needed a break and we needed a break from him. And I think that's the problem with WWE TV in general. One, we see the same matches over and over replayed, and two, we get the same people shoved down our throats constantly. You know, back in the day when you just had, you know, back in my early days when I was a young kid, and we had Wrestling Challenge where it'd be like, you know, a couple of the superstars each week, and it'd just be squash matches basically. They'd just go in and like Earthquake could go in against someone, or Hogan would go in against a jobber, if you want to call them that. And then, you know, the big matches were built up to the pay-per-view, and you'd have your segments each week about what they're going to do in this match and that match, and this is coming up, and you'd be like, oh, can't wait for this. And, you know, where, like, I don't know, nowadays it just seems like WrestleMania, for instance, you know, you had them, I think it was, which match was it this year? I can't remember, but I remember thinking at the time, where they replayed it on Monday Night Raw. Oh, the New Day versus Amos and AJ the night after Mania, and it's like, well, why am I watching WrestleMania then? What's the point?
Why did I pay for this?
Why do I care if I can see the exact same match the next night?
The day after?
And that's the thing, is like, you know, why would you want to watch it if that's the case? You know, and that's my biggest gripe with modern wrestling now, is like, you know, stop having them wrestle each other so often. And also, if they're going to wrestle on the pay-per-view, you should be making a conscious effort to keep them apart.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Not have them in tag team matches to see if they can coexist.
Honest to God.
How will they coexist?
God, it just does me head in. You know, it's even like the New Day, for instance, I think's a good one, because if you wanted to continue the feud there and something, you've got 3 members there and you've got 2 of the tag teams. Maybe do a few singles matches. Do you know what I mean? Or, you know, it's still not ideal, but, you know, let's look back to the Attitude Era match. That's where the wrestling was the best. Let's face it. You know, that's when they were fighting for their lives. Vince McMahon was trying to keep the company going. You know, I don't know whether it's true or not, but people were saying that at the time they were taking the water coolers out of Titan Towers because they were struggling that much. And I always look at that and think to myself, like, you know, when you had like the Nation of Domination versus DX, and Triple H versus The Rock, and they didn't need to go against each other apart from the pay-per-view because they had the factions and whatnot to keep it more that interesting before we got to the main event. And that's the thing at the moment, is I don't feel like there's any main event.
No. And like, you can kind of see them trying to do it on SmackDown by having like Roman throw Jimmy and Jay at people. Yeah. But other than that, like, we totally do not need to see Charlotte and Rhea Ripley not only tag together, tag against each other with 2 other tag teams.
Or both fight poor Nikki Cross, and Nikki Cross is celebrating because she's lasted a couple of minutes with them.
Mm-hmm. Or one by count out, and Who's next on our list?
Right, okay, so funny you should mention Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss.
Oh no.
So,
at least this will be a quick one.
Yeah, well, it was a quick reign, wasn't it? Let's face it.
I was about to say she cashed in on the same night.
That's it. Now, this one for me, I like Alexa Bliss. I like her. I think she's a really good character. Not into the whole
lady thing.
Yeah. But maybe she'll end up back with the Fiend or whatever else, and it might all make sense in the end. Who knows? But anyway,
I hope it ends up making sense.
Yeah. Now, this one frustrated me because, 1, I didn't think it was needed. 2, I thought once the cash-in was over and she's won the title, I was kind of like, okay, so you're just going to hold it until Ronda takes it off you. So it was kind of like, why not take it off? Why doesn't Ronda take it off Nia and then keep hold of it and have that threat for the year of Bliss? I didn't really see the point. I mean, I know the whole story of Bliss is a great heel and da-da-da, but Nia's a good heel. Nia's never been a good babyface.
No. It made sense, like, up to that WrestleMania, Mania 34. But after that, turn her heel, like, and then just have her destroy people, and then build her up to lose to Ronda. That way Ronda looks like a bigger threat, because, to be honest, watching Ronda throw Alexa Bliss around like a rag doll was not very entertaining.
No. Not at all.
And, like, Ronda versus Nia wasn't that entertaining either, but at least it would have ended with Ronda winning.
Well, this is it, but also, as you've just said then, Ronda was throwing Alexa around like a rag doll. But, Nia Jax, if you looked at them on a poster, say, for instance, and you didn't watch wrestling, or, Nia Jax looks like a viable threat to Ronda Rousey. Same as Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair look like a viable threat. Alexa Bliss does not look like a viable threat to Ronda Rousey. She might be to the likes of Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair because you can build the characters to make it look like there's a threat there, but when
not with the genuine Ronda Rousey there.
Exactly, which no matter how you try and convince people, nobody is going to believe that Alexa Bliss could beat Ronda Rousey. No. So, for that one, for me, I thought, as I said to you before, I feel like it's a bit Roman Reigns-esque in the terms of, we want to make him champion. Oh, you'll think it's this, but oh no, we'll give a shot swipe. Sheamus Money in the Bank, probably want to say there. Or Rollins is Money in the Bank.
I liked Sheamus. Now that I think about it, Triple H was involved in screwing Roman Reigns over twice at WrestleMania or at SummerSlam.
Yeah. They tried to do the whole Daniel Bryan story with Roman, but 1, it had already been told so well with Daniel Bryan, and 2, it was, it just shows you, and I think this is something that WWE can learn, is I feel like because of the internet, because of everything that's different nowadays, is you can't force somebody down your fans' necks anymore. It doesn't work like that. you need to listen to your fans. So, obviously the Hogan era, Cena, whatever else. I mean, I know the Cena era didn't really start with the fact that they wanted to push him as much as they did. But once they realised what they had, they pushed him to the hilt. But I feel like they handpicked Roman and turned around and said, right, you're going to be our superstar. And they tried to force it so much that the fans just renegated against him. And that's why it was kind of like... Yeah, last minute they were like, okay, we'll swerve this and we'll take it away from him. It was like when everyone thought that Brock Lesnar was going to leave, and then he beat him at WrestleMania because everyone thought his contract was up. And, so WWE've tried to surprise us a few times, but, the best Roman Reigns we've had, sorry to go sideways here, but is obviously the tribal chief, and that's probably not WWE but wanted that. That was probably Roman and a certain Mr. Heyman involved in it. That's made that as good as what it is. But anyway, as I say, I just felt like that particular one with Alexa Bliss, as everybody thought Ronda was going to win that match, and then it was kind of like, okay, let's go sides with you and let's pop in Alexa Bliss out there in the mix just to we got you. Do you know what I mean? You all thought this was going to happen.
Just to swerve you. We'll see you at next pay-per-view.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, tell us a story and stick with it properly. Okay, right. Well, we're going to move on from that one because, as you said, it's quite, any final thoughts from you on that one, Matt, before we move on?
No, I'm good on Alexa. I was going to say, like I said, this one was probably going to be a quick one because it happened all in one night. It was a good Money in the Bank match, though. Bad cashing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it. And this is where this kind of, this is what we've got to remember, that these are about the cash-ins. It's not about the actual Money in the Bank matches.
Yeah, because Braun Strowman's Money in the Bank was amazing. Kevin Owens taking a bump off like a 20-foot ladder through some tables and stuff was insane.
Yeah. That's it. And as I say, most of these Money in the Bank matches have been great. It's not about the match being terrible or anything like that. It's just about the actual cash-in and, So,
to be honest, I don't remember much from Barons.
No. So this one.
I remember I went for Sammy.
See, I like Sami Zayn. Really, really.
I'm a
character.
huge Sammy guy.
Oh, wow. I'll tell you what, right, our next one, and probably my most furious one on this list, is a certain Mr. Damien Sandown. For me, one of the most underused, unappreciated talents WWE have ever had.
He did everything they asked of him and more. And if we can remember, what was the crowd pop he got when he grabbed that briefcase, when he tipped Cody Rhodes off that ladder? Again, this was an amazing Money in the Bank ladder match with a bunch of twists and turns. But
some great talent in the match as well.
Damien Sandow winning it, I thought. And then the cash-in where he attacks John Cena before the bell, throws him against the steps a bunch. I think he hit him with a chair a good couple of times.
Yeah.
And then, lo and behold, as soon as the bell rings, 5 moves of doom, and they bury Sandow under 10 feet of snow and 6 feet of dirt.
Yeah. And you know what the sad thing about it is, and this is just shows you where, as everyone says, whether you get over or you don't, if WWE do not want you to, you will not get over. It's as simple as that. Because, Sandown was over. He was over in a big way.
He was over his whole damn career.
Oh, his talking, his psychology, everything about him was just fantastic. And then, they even tried to disrespect him on occasion. Right, you're going to be the Mrs. Body Double from the Hollywood thing. And,
killed it.
We all know. We all know what happened there. And then next minute, it was
he outshined the Miz.
Yeah. And then, and it's just like, even then, it was quick split them up. And, for me, it just showed you that what a guy he was, that, you could give him apples and oranges and he could come back with a full 3-course meal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like no matter what little thing they give him, he just always got more out of it.
And the sad thing is, like, he never really recovered from this either. Like, whenever he went to Impact, it wasn't the same. When he went to the NWA, it wasn't the same. Like, he's doing great stuff down there right now, but it's just not. He doesn't have the same magic that Damien Sandow had, and It's
No.
so depressing that WWE killed an entire career almost.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he's still got time to pull it back, hasn't he? You know, he could still do something else, whether that's
Yeah,
in
like I said,
promoting
he's doing
WWE.
great stuff right now in the NWA. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe AEW may be bound for him eventually, or maybe he could go back to WWE. Who knows? But
can we also talk about the fact that he turned the Money in the Bank briefcase into a genuine leather-bound briefcase? That was mint. Like, of
I might have
all
to
of the
try and get him.
customizations we've seen, I think
Yeah,
that's one of the best.
yeah. I think his is the best, and Brock Lesnar's is the worst by far.
He actually put a speaker in that. Like, and that. Yeah.
Yeah, no words, mate. I get you. Don't worry. As you can see, I've got a briefcase up in the top there in the background.
Yeah, I was going to say, we love the match. We love the Money in the Bank match. I'm genuinely beyond excited for both matches this weekend.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
And
just, I think the thing that we're trying to come across here, aren't we, is the fact of it's the potential of what you can do with a winner. And as you say,
look at the names that we've put.
Yeah.
All the names, other than poor Baron fucking Corbin and Damian Sandow, have won the world title, aside from the damn briefcase.
Yeah. That's it. It's just like, you can build so much momentum with it. I'll just to mention one that's in a positive way, and it was me number one on my article that I've done for Wrestling Buddies. Make sure you go check that out. Please do. Yeah, WrestlingBuddies.com, and there's loads of news articles from myself, Matty, and a lot of the other guys. They're really, really good, so make sure you check it out. But on there, Seth Rollins, I won't go into too much detail about it, obviously read the article, but one of the things I stated on there was Seth Rollins, when he come out to cash in, I had forgot he even had the briefcase.
Yeah, because he wrestled earlier in the night against Randy Orton to open the show. He ate one of the most beautiful RKOs we've ever seen, and then comes around at the main event.
Yeah.
It's a perfect cash-in.
Yeah, literally come from nowhere. Because even on the Randy Orton match, I didn't think they kind of called him Mr. Money in the Bank much. I'm going to go back and watch it actually, because I want to watch it just to make sure I'm not wrong on this one. But I think that the commentators and the production, they didn't really make it a big thing about him being Money in the Bank, and that's maybe why I've missed out on it at the time. But again, it just shows you that, like, if you use that correctly, he was, I believe, if I can remember correctly, he was like 270 something days. He had the actual...
he held it for almost 300 days. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Because Money in the Bank at that time was in May, I believe.
Yeah.
May or June, and WrestleMania's in late March, early April. So he literally was like
it's
2 or 3
normally
months away.
It's normally the next pay-per-view after Mania, isn't it?
Yeah, I was gonna say he was literally like 2 or 3 months away from having to relinquish it. And I want to see someone hold the briefcase all 365 days and 364 cash in either on NXT the night before, or on the pay-per-view. Because I don't know how it would work. I don't know if they'd have to give it up before the match, but I would love to see anytime, anywhere, as long as there's a ref. Bring a referee with them backstage and attack them in the parking lot or something.
Yeah.
I would love to see someone hold it for the whole year.
Yeah. Brilliant. Oh, do you know what would be even cool is, like, I don't know, on a football match or basketball court, and kind of film it at half time where they start rolling around in the middle of, maybe the Lakers or somewhere like that. And they
it would make sense.
Yeah. And it makes so much of a big statement and publicity and everything else that would go with it, you know what I mean? I heard a story one time that LeBron James is a big wrestling fan.
Mm-hmm.
And Vince McMahon found out about this, so he sent Undertaker and I don't know.
I've seen the picture.
Yeah, and he's waiting in the hallway to try and get a picture with LeBron and do a thing, and apparently LeBron's team got onto it and moved away and was like, look, if you just want to do something for publicity, make sure you contact us and do it properly, and rather than trying to snipe some free stuff.
That picture with Undertaker standing so unamused next to Kevin Love is one of the greatest pictures I've ever seen. Like, Undertaker's in full gear and everything, and he's just posted up right next to Kevin Love. who seems ecstatic, but Undertaker's like, this isn't the Braun.
It's just madness, isn't it? And you just think to yourself, oh, just kind of like, as I say, do something like that. As you quite rightly say, let's get like on a basketball court in the middle of something, or hire a restaurant so somebody's having a meal and you just run in and kick them over the table and then with
Yeah.
kind of like the old vignettes they used to do for the hardcore title back in the day when that title was actually
Anywhere.
Awesome.
That title changed hands in the sidewalk of a New York Times Square.
It's just everywhere.
Like
wasn't it?
I would love to see, like we said, we're big Sami Zayn guys. I would love to see Sami Zayn win the briefcase, and like you said, out at a restaurant or something, you just see a haluva kick come out of nowhere and take out the champion.
Yeah, he's not actually in the match though, is he, Sammy?
No, sadly, I wanted I love Kevin Owens too, but give the guy some time off, please.
Yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? This is exactly what we were talking about. Sometimes just overkill with people, you know what I mean? Especially Sammy and Kevin's probably a big example. Why put them two against each other again?
Mm-hmm. We've seen it 3 times throughout WWE now. This is a trilogy. This is a trilogy of feuds.
That's it.
We didn't even get that with Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
No, and don't get me wrong, they're good feuds. They are good because they are good competitors, the two of them,
and they'll never have a
good.
bad match.
No, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Is like even though we've seen it that many times, the matches are still really good. It's just kind of, give us something new. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think Sandown, going back to him, obviously, we make sure we do him justice. I just feel like this one for me he's always going to go down in history as the first. Yeah, I think he's going to go down as Money in the Bank loser, the first ever one. But more than anything else, he's probably going to go down as the one that WWE led away.
I forgot. He is the first one to lose, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, first ever one to lose his cash in, which is, it's not a great. I don't think he deserves that. I really don't think he deserves to have that. That title, as it were. But I just feel like they could have done so much more with him. He's such a good speaker. Maybe they could get him in as an announcer or commentator or something.
And we never really got a proper Miz versus Sandow feud.
No. It was very rushed.
Those two could have had such good promos against each other.
It was just so rushed, wasn't it? What was the match that ended the feud with them? Was just to the naming rights, wasn't it? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I was about to say to see if Sandow could call himself Mizdow still.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Why does he just turn around and go, well, I'm just Sandown? Do you know what I mean? Or...
Yeah.
No. As I say, he was such a good talker as well. I believe, I might be wrong here, but I am sure that it may have been Stu Hart's funeral, but he done the obituary at one of the Hart's funerals.
I think it was Stu's.
Yeah.
I can look it up, but...
Yeah,
I'll look it up real quick.
And that shows you, that's the... If I'm correct on this one, it just shows you it like the family that they've got and the promos and people used to talking and stuff like that. It just shows you how how good he is at public speaking and kind of his etiquette and stuff like that. If that's what they let him, the Hearts let him do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was it Stu Hart? Was it?
Yeah, I'm still.
Yeah, as I say, it's just a real shame.
Yeah, it was.
It was Stu Hart, yeah.
Yeah. That is such a high honor, to be honest.
Yeah. And I think also one thing I will say about, we'll finish on a positive note for Damien, is I think they tried that scholar kind of character quite a few times. Dean Douglas, Christopher Nowinski, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he was the only one that actually got that type of character over. I think anybody who tried it before him just never...
Yeah, I was going to say, there's the Dean, Chris Nowinski came in like the Harvard student.
Yeah.
And
Matt Striker.
Sandow... Yeah, Stryker too. He came in as a teacher.
Teacher.
So
Yeah,
we've had teacher, dean, student, and Sandow came in like he took that kind of a gimmick, which we all thought wasn't gonna go well, and he turned it into something because
exactly.
he was that damn good.
Yeah, and then again on the second one, they turn around, go and be Mrs. Bodyguard. He turns it into something. So, you know, again, it just shows that the man's got a lot of creative talent, as it were, and they just didn't use it as well as what they should do. But, as I say, really sad one for me.
Yeah, it's so depressing.
I just... do you know what? I don't even feel sad about it. It's more frustration because it's kind of like you've got a Ferrari here that you're driving. Like, it's a Mini.
Yeah.
You know, and I just don't think they realised what they had. Okay, so last and certainly least. I'm not going to say not least, but it certainly is least. Otis.
Last year's Money in the Bank winner. This got dropped into his hands, literally.
Yeah, literally, yeah. And also, I know just before anybody says, well, it was last year's, why is it the top of the list? It doesn't matter that it's last year's. It's last year's because it was rubbish. That's why it's top of the list. Never mind what year it was. If you could have put this as the first Money in the Bank, and he'd still be number one on this list. You know, again, I thought the match was really good. Considering,
all things considered, trying to film all that at Titan Towers, all of the cameos, the vignettes that we got there.
Yeah, I think the
got
funny
a
thing
weird thing with. Oh, you go ahead.
Sorry. I think every time somebody mentions this Money in the Bank or Titan Towers in a whole, all I visualise now is when it was Bryan and AJ, and they're fighting, and then next minute they go into Vince McMahon's office.
Apparently, that is a genuine T-Rex skull in his office. Apparently, Vince spent a shit ton of money on that. But yeah, that spot was amazing where they go in there and they're like, "Get out of here."
I always think with Vince, like, you know, considering from what I've heard, he's at every show, he's at everything, he's really, really like, you know, 18, 19 hour a day guy, and it's like, well, what does a billionaire who doesn't stop working have time to spend money on? Obviously, T-Rex skulls.
Yeah, where's he spending all of his billions? Is that a real T-Rex skull? We think it is. Fuck it, I'll buy it.
Yeah, he's probably got a whole team, like, in the basement of his house, like, trying to recreate a T-Rex or something like that.
Not only that, apparently all the cars that Del Rio drove were from Vince's personal garage. So the Bentley, the Ferrari, those gorgeous luxury cars that he was driving, apparently those are all Vince's. So he's spending his money on luxury.
Fair dues to him. So, anyway, back to this match. So, yeah, cinema, really good. Is it something that I'd probably like to see again? If it was
I've gone back and
setting,
rewatched it.
No. I mean,
it's not
I probably would. I wouldn't want to see a Money in the Bank again in a cinematic format. But would I like to see a cinematic match again? Well, yeah, because I thought the Boneyard match was awesome, and I think if you put that in any kind of era, never mind where it was kind of forced, I still think it would have been awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And same thing with the Fun House. I thought the Fun House was amazing. It's still, like, personally, still one of my favorite matches of last year.
Yeah. I mean, it was good. I thought the Boneyard was much better. But
yeah, me and my brother had separate thoughts on the Boneyard and the Firefly. He thought Boneyard was better. I thought everything they did in the Firefly was just works. So
I mean, I think a cinematic match can be used really good. You know, especially if you've got someone like Cena or I don't know, The Rock, someone that you couldn't use kind of at a point because they're busy with whatever else they've got, and they've got a little small time and schedule where they can fit it in, and it's kind of like
film something.
Yeah, and film something, and then maybe you can even keep that in your back pocket until you feel like you need to use it, and then release it then, because it's not something that you've just got to let out there and then, is it? You can keep hold of it and kind of release it when you need to or something. So going forward, I wouldn't mind seeing cinematic matches again, but something like this, I don't think I'd want to see again with a Money in the Bank.
Yeah, no, not in the Money in the Bank. Not in a big gimmick match like Money in the Bank, Hell in a Cell. Definitely, I do not want to see a cinematic Rumble. That would be
definitely.
That I don't want to ruin that gimmick at all.
Yeah, definitely not. And as we said, the finish, I can't even really, AJ and who
AJ has
remember.
AJ has football gloves on.
Yeah.
And you're meaning to tell me that he's dropping a briefcase that's got a rubber handle.
Yeah. Who else?
And then Otis is just no, it was for some reason Asuka. I think it was Asuka, or did Asuka get her briefcase at that time?
I think she got it, did she? I can't remember. I'm going to have to go back and watch it because I can't...
But it was AJ who dropped the briefcase into Otis's hands. That's the important takeaway from here.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I thought Otis was really doing well with the whole Mandy Rose story, everything that went it. I didn't like the way they broke up Heavy Machinery. I didn't see the point in it.
I don't like the way they broke up everybody. Completely just split Otis and Mandy, and then Tucky did what Tucky did.
Yeah.
Which we'll move on to for that cash-in. The match. Well, we didn't even have a cash-in. He lost it. He's the only other person other than Mr. Kennedy to lose the Money in the Bank briefcase.
I know. But just to go back to breaking up a Heavy Machinery, obviously, no, in fact, we'll talk about Heavy Machinery breaking up as we go along, because obviously it's relevant to the loss of the Money in the Bank, isn't it? Now, for me personally, and, what I feel about it is, why give somebody an opportunity if they're not going to get a chance to cash it in? Obviously, I get the fact that you might be looking and thinking to yourself, okay, maybe we've made a mistake here, just get into cash in and lose it. Why? There's
no harm in losing it. Because the champions at that time were... at that time, Roman was champion. I can understand, but you can have him lose to Roman. Especially since he was building up the tribal chief. Have him just destroy one of your guys' top 80 faces.
Yeah.
Otis could have done his weird thing, but...
Yeah, I understand the way that they needed when they done the whole Miz Lashley McIntyre thing, and I get the fact that they use Miz as a transitional champion to protect Drew and to do all whatnot.
And to build Lashley too.
Yeah,
to rebuild him.
I totally get that, and I went mad at that, but I just don't like this. If you're gonna put faith in somebody and you're going to give them that chance with the briefcase or whatever, why take it off them?
Yeah, Otis can easily not be on this list by cashing it in and having a decent match where he loses.
Yeah. The other thing I wouldn't have minded seeing is, why didn't him and Tucker go and cash it in for the tag team titles?
That makes sense. It's a championship of your choice. You can and they'd be the first ones to do it. That's what I thought they were gonna do.
I know, and also you've got Tucker, Otis, who's he's all kind of this bit of a dopey character and stuff. So you could have had to cash it in for the tag team titles, and then they go, well, why don't you go for the world? And he goes, I'm Heavy Machinery, or along them lines, kind of.
I don't want this. We want this.
All it stipulates is you get a championship opportunity. Doesn't stipulate which one.
Yeah, it's of your choice. You can literally go and cash that shit in on the 24/7 title if you want to.
Yeah. And then
I don't know why you would, but...
No. I mean, but then again, even that could have been quite funny, because then you could have had, Tucker come over to him and say, why have you cashed it in for the 24-hour championship when you can have a match for that anytime you want anyway? And he's like, do you know what I mean? Kind of play into the dopey character. And you would have
Mandy there too to be like, Otis. Yeah. And they ruined everything. They destroyed everything.
I tell you another thing that he could have done. Infatuation with Mandy. Why not cash it in and give her a championship match?
Now I think
I
there's
love my peach. Let's give her the championship.
I do think that there was a caveat there because there is a men's briefcase and a women's briefcase. So I
Yeah.
don't know if he'd be able to do that, but I don't see why he wouldn't try.
Yeah. There's so many
And he just
opportunities
used it
there.
as a lunchbox. He used it as a lunchbox.
Exactly. So there you go with the lunchbox and the whole kind of, he doesn't realise, the whole story could have been is he doesn't realise the kind of power or what he has here. And he's using it as a lunchbox. He's he's a big dopey man. And then eventually he goes and cashes it in for a tag team title match or a 24/7 one or whatever it may be that, he kind of doesn't realise what he's doing.
And he could have he could have been the one to hold on to it for a year and then Tucker be like, you have this.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
And then he turns around and goes, you've got this briefcase, and he's like, opens it up and loads of food fall out, and he goes,
yeah.
Do you realise there's a contract in here that is really close to running out? And he goes, oh, okay. And then, it's something like that. There was so many opportunities of what he can do, and I just think they just absolutely balls it up. And then the biggest thing with all this frustration for me is they broke up a really good tag team.
Yeah, Heavy Machinery were fantastic. They were a good team of big men.
And you're talking about they broke them up in a division that hasn't got a lot of depth in. Do you know what I mean?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't really have anything because I think Jimmy was out with an injury. Cesaro and Sheamus were on Raw.
I believe they broke up though, hadn't they, at this point?
Yeah, they did. They did at the draft.
Yeah.
But you had Nakamura and Cesaro. You had no Usos. I think you had the Lucha House Party. Were they on Raw or NXT? They wrestled fucking everywhere.
Yeah. But there was no depth there, was there? And me personally, I love tag teams that have got a gimmick, a style. The Usos, always loved the Usos. Go back to the old times, Demolition, the Rockers, Half Foundation, Natural Disasters, even.
And I'm not gonna lie, they reminded me of like Demolition and the Natural Disasters because they were able to work off of each other, and around each other's sides.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. And but the whole like Heavy Machinery gimmick and everything that went with it, and then you break them up. And then the biggest thing and the biggest frustration that comes from all this for me is you broke them up. So, I don't mind tag teams breaking up. The Rockers broke up. Shawn Michaels, look what he went on to do. The Hart Foundation broke up. Bret Hart obviously become a great single star. The Rock with the Nation of Domination. Triple H with DX. You could go on and on and on. But you broke him up to put him in another tag team with Chad Gable. Why?
You broke him up to do nothing with Tucker, who was arguably the better worker of the two, the better in-ring competitor.
Yeah. But why break him up to put him in a tag team with somebody else? If you're going to break them up and give them a singles run, even if, don't get me wrong, I'm gutted for Tucker that he's being released and everything else that went alongside that. But if they were, it makes it more infuriating that they've not done anything with Otis. And them two as a tag team were brilliant. So why break them up? Put Otis in another tag team and then get rid of Tucker. If Otis was now an Intercontinental Champion, a US title, in that mid-card picture as a single star, you turn around and think, okay, well, they had a plan for Otis. It didn't involve Tucker. That's not really nice, but that's wrestling. But to do that,
it's mind-blowing. It really is. And there's a reason why Otis is number one on this list.
Yeah, and I think he's... I think it's well deserved. And as I say, that's no slight on Otis. I think he's really, really good as a wrestler. I've enjoyed the Heavy Machinery stuff, NXT, and the early days on the main roster. I love the Mandy Rose stuff. It's not a slight on any of these talents, but it's just a slight on where it could have been much better. It could have been.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Matt, thank you so much for joining me today, mate. I really appreciate it. Do you want to just give a shout out again for your Twitter and what you're up to?
Of course. You guys can follow me over at WrestleBuddy.com as well as Andy over here. We write great articles all the time. Um, my game show is going to be going out as of recording here in about an hour or two. So we'll be able to plug that as
Yeah, and
well.
what I'll do is as well, pal, when this video does finally go live, I'll pop the link for the quiz, for your quiz on
Okay.
the bottom.
And I'd like to also announce that Andy here is going to be a contestant on this coming week as well. So I guess we'll call this an exchange, me hopping on your channel for you hopping on our channel. And I want to thank you guys for letting me on. You guys can find me at Matthew_Laws_ at Twitter. And like I said, follow us over at Wrestle_Buddy on Twitter as well.
Brilliant.
Thank you for having me on, Andy.
Matt, I'll have you on many more times, mate. I say I love talking to you, and thank you for all your support and everything that you've given me personally over at Wrestle Buddies. It's been really, really grateful for it, and it's been so helpful. Right, okay, so thanks very much anyway, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave a thumbs up, and follow myself on Twitter, BritWrestlePC. I will be on this video as well, and I'll also leave the links in the description. I will leave my Twitter and Matty's Twitter on the links to this video, and I'll also leave a link for Matty's wrestling quiz show. Obviously, I'll leave the links for the last couple of episodes so you can catch up on it. Really, really good, and obviously if you like a bit of fun in terms of wrestling knowledge and stuff like most of us do, then it's a good place to pop over to. Alright, Matty, thanks a lot, mate. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.
I will speak to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you.